Hi, I'm Kirsten Adler, and today I am showing some exercises to help relieve hip and lower back stiffness. Let's get started. Come on down onto your back. You will have your knees bent, feet about hip width apart, and if you like, you can grab a little towel or a pillow for underneath your head to make your neck more comfortable. We'll start with some pelvic tilts. So you'll rock your hip bones towards your face, which will bring your lower back into the floor. And then you'll rock your hip bones away from your face towards your feet, which will bring a little bit of an arch into the small of your back. Again, roll your hip bones towards your face, lower back comes into the floor. And then rock your hip bones towards your feet, lower back will arch. So continue slowly. Just a few times at your own pace. Start to tap into your breathing. Notice what sensations you're feeling as you do this. Notice if one direction feels more familiar or easier or less stiff than the other direction. One more set. And then bring your hips into an in-between place where they don't feel like they're tipping too far one way or the other way. And from here, you're going to let your knees sway to the right, which will peel your left hip off the floor. Pause at your end range. You might find a little stretch. Try to keep your upper back really relaxed and heavy into the floor. And then slowly bring yourself back to center. And then you'll sway your knees to the left, peeling your right hip off the floor. You could take a breath into the stretch. And then slowly rock back to center. So again, back and forth a few times. More isn't necessarily better, so stay in a range of motion that feels good to your body. And this is just a nice way to get some movement in your hips, in your pelvis, and in your spine. And then make your way back to center for the next exercise. I call this butterflies. So you'll rotate your thigh bones open as far as you can, just allowing yourself to roll to the outer edges of your feet. And then once you've gone as far as you can go that way, you're going to slowly rotate your knees to point up again, and then your knees can come all the way in to touch. And again, rotating your thighs open. Now, as you do this, you're trying to keep your hips pretty quiet so that they're not rocking and rolling around. But the movement is really your thigh bones rolling in the hip joint. And a couple more times, trying to move both legs really evenly at the same rate. So it takes a little bit of focus and control. Let's go for two more. And check in with your breathing. Make sure you're not holding your breath. And one more round. And then find center. From here, you'll extend your right leg down, and you can let that leg just sort of plop, so you don't have to hold that leg parallel. You'll take your left hand to your left thigh, and you're going to push your left knee forward, like you're pressing the thigh away from you so much that you roll onto your right hip. Just make sure that your left knee isn't swinging in or out here, but it's directing straight forward, and then slowly roll back down. Try that two more times, reaching your knee forward And then slowly roll down. Again, reaching the knee away so that your left hip peels off of the floor, and then release it down. So same movement now, but different focus. Now I want you to really focus on your left foot pressing into the floor. So you push that left foot down, the knee still reaches forward, but as you push into that left foot, feel how maybe a little bit of energy comes into the back of that left thigh and maybe your tush. And then you'll release it down. Let's try that 2 more times. Push into that left foot, knee reaches forward, and release. 1 more time, push into that left foot. And again, this can be small or big, whatever feels good to your body. And down. And then before you switch sides, let that leg come down. If you want, you can close your eyes and just notice how your back and whole body really, but especially your back, is making contact with the floor. And for me, I feel like my left side now is a lot heavier than my right side. And then you'll switch. So you're going to take your right knee and bend it. That left leg can stay relaxed. Right hand to the right thigh. You'll reach that right knee forward to peel the right hip off of the floor. Again, just making sure that that knee isn't going out or in, and then slowly lower back down. 2 more times, focusing on the reach of the right knee. 1 more. Okay, same movement, but focusing now on the push of the right foot in the floor. So pressing down into that right foot, feeling how that press brings a little bit of energy into the back of that right leg, activation into the glute, and lower. And 2 more, push into that right foot, feel that activation, and lower. 1 more time. And lower. So now again, let that leg extend. You can close your eyes if you like, and just take a moment to feel and sense. And hopefully you feel a little more even now if you were feeling a little crooked before. So now you're going to take your left knee, bend it again, and then bend your right knee as well. So you're back here. And then I want you to butterfly your right knee open. So you can let that leg just plop open. You don't have to worry too much about your hips staying even. And we're going to try the same thing. So you're going to reach that left knee forward to roll that left hip off of the ground. And then slowly lower. If this isn't feeling so great, you can go back to extending that leg long. If this is feeling pretty easy, you could try threading your right foot under your left leg, right? So I've got my foot behind my, just to the outside of my heel. And then same thing. So reaching that knee forward, finding that little twist, and then lower. So this can bring a little more stretch into the hip and into the thigh. If it's feeling too much in your knee, go back to the previous variation. If this is feeling good, you can reach your left hand for the top of your left foot. And then try the same thing. Reach that left knee forward. And then lower down. And I'm feeling a great stretch through the front of my abdominal wall, down through my hip as I do this. But again, if you're feeling any sort of strain in your back or knee, go back to the previous variation. Try it out there. Just try a couple more times. And 1 more. And then slowly come back with both feet on the floor. Take a moment just to feel and sense. And then you'll try the other side. So opening your left knee into that butterfly. Starting here, you can take your right hand to your thigh. You'll reach the right knee forward. You might have a very different experience on both sides, and that is totally normal. And then you're gonna release, so stay here or thread that foot through and try it out here. And you can stay here, or you can reach for the top of that foot, and same thing. Still focusing on that push of that foot into the floor and the reach of the knee. And then go ahead and bring both feet to the floor and just come back to that little pelvic rocking a couple times, arching your back and then flattening your back. And notice if it feels any different from the beginning. So now we're going to go into a full bridge. I'm going to just slide my little blanket out. So feet comfortably close to your hips. You can take your hands onto the tops of your thighs, and just like you did with one leg at a time, you're going to reach both knees forward, press into your feet to lift your thighs into your hands, and then rolling down through your back. Now I'm showing a pretty high bridge here because it feels good, but again, you can keep this small, pressing into your feet and maybe just lifting up a little bit, and then rolling down through your spine. Try a couple more times. You can bring your arms down, press your hands, press the backs of your shoulders lightly into the floor to lift up, and articulating down. Really feeling as you do this, the triangle of each foot pressing into the floor. So your big toe mound, your pinky toe mound, center of your heels. Let's try one or two more. Okay, last stretch. You're going to take your legs together. You can cross your right thigh all the way over your left thigh, a tight cross here. And then slowly tip your knees to the right, as far as feels good, but keeping the back of the left shoulder heavy. And then slowly come back to center. Let's try that again. Little rocking of the knees to the right. Little or big, I should say. Okay, and then come back to center, and then you can open that right knee, flex your right foot. Try to feel that an evenness of your pelvis on the floor here. If you're already feeling some stretch in your tush, stay here. Otherwise, you can pick the left foot off the floor, wrap your hands around the back of the left leg, and breathe. You want to make sure your neck is long so that if you feel like your chin is rolling back like this, go ahead and grab your pillow again, place it under your head. And just take a few more breaths. I like to imagine my tail here reaching into the floor so that my butt isn't getting pulled off of the ground. And you can imagine that you're sort of relaxing that whole hip area, lower back area with your breath. Inhaling, breathing all the way down into your pelvis, into your hips. Exhaling to relax. One more big breath like that. And then release your feet to the floor. Okay, from here, let's try the other side. So you'll cross the left thigh over. You're going to tip your knees over to the left. And keeping your right shoulder really heavy and weighted. Slowly come back. Let's try that again. Take those knees over to the left. And come back to center, and then open that left knee, flex your left foot. Take a moment to feel the balance of your hips against the floor. And then if you need more stretch, pick that right foot up. Oh, this side is a little tighter. And hold on to the back of that right thigh. And then using those bigger, fuller breaths to release tension out of your hips, out of your back, wherever you're feeling the stretch. And then slowly release your feet down. And just taking a moment to pause. Notice how your back feels against the floor. Notice if anything feels different from the beginning of the practice to now. And then when you're ready, you can roll over to a side to bring yourself up, and you are all finished. Thank you for joining me. Please let me know if you have any questions in the comments below.